If you want to be able to buy the most expensive players and open the best packs in FC24, go to u7buy.com to buy your EA FC24 coins. It's cheaper than buying FC points and just as reliable. With their already amazing prices, you can get an extra 6% using promo code Inception at checkout. Bro, on Footbin, I don't know how people are disliking this SBC. Like, these people are crazy. These people are crazy, bro. Rivaldo is probably the best SBC we've received in a minute. You guys should try that card out in game, bro, and see if he's not a monster, bro. I don't know where those dislikes are coming from. A million coin SBC, like, no, I don't know where that's coming from. With the way that fodder is right now, no chance. And you guys know this, bro, because I used Rivaldo a lot. Because, like, guys, listen, Alvarez, they gave me first touch plus, they gave me press proven plus, and that card does not feel saucy in game, bro. He's good, but he's not saucy, bro. Rivaldo is saucy. Like, if you're gonna do an SBC, especially for a million coins, like, I'm doing Rivaldo over Alvarez. Let's just point that out right away, okay? I don't know where the dislikes are coming from with that one. People never tried that card. There's just no chance. I'm sorry. But anyways, today, new evolution. We have an evolution called Brand New 9 that gives you Trivela Plus. Okay, Trivela Plus and general stat increase without defense. Okay, yeah, so general stat increase without defense. I'm going to keep this screen on. The reason I'm going to keep this screen on is because I see Mendy trending for this. I don't really know why, unless it's like a really good card. Let's take a look. I mean, I get it, because, I mean, you technically can give him a Sentinel. I mean, I get it. The thing is, though, guys, I'm telling you, with Mendy, it's a waste. Like, you're looking at it mainly, like, this is trending on Footbin, but you're looking at it mainly from, like, I mean, technically, you can use him as a center mid. His dribbling is very, like, fullback-esque. Does that make sense? Technically, you can use him as a center mid. You could. I'm not saying that you can't, right? But he definitely feels like an actual left back in the game. Like, when it's like me comparing Grimaldo to Mendy. Like, Grimaldo, I would say, is more like a card you could definitely play as a midfielder, right? Mendy, I'm not gonna lie though. Trivela Plus, I will say, if one of you guys, and not a lot of people do this, right? But if one of you guys does use a fullback that could potentially attack, and he's on the inverted instruction, right? That could potentially be decent. And then the other thing is the Trivela cross while working with your left foot, so that you work with the far post crosses. So I'm not completely against it. But I think that the two evolutions for it is kind of wasteful, right? You kind of want more defensive stuff, I think. Power shot Trivela. It doesn't make a lot of sense in my opinion. Cole Palmer, listen, they always give this guy a card, but any card that this guy has, if he doesn't have press proven, like that's just me, okay? Because honestly, I face this card sometimes, and there's people that like can cook with this card. I'm not going to say that they can't cook, because the thing is that they did give him really good play styles, right? Technical plus, finesse shot plus, still very good. He is a 5-star player. Definitely got all those improvements, right? Some very, very good stuff. So he still cooks, right? But when I've used that card, I'm telling you, I wish I could improve his dribbling, because his body type feels a certain way. This card does have, because of Footies Founders. That does, hey, to be fair, it does make it more interesting, because if I go with the engine route, he is actually well formatted, to be honest, right? All the playstyles are W's, right? So if I wanted to use him as a striker, side position player, whatever, he's working with Trivela and finesse now, right? Flair is decent in certain situations, but this would make more sense than doing Mendy for sure, right? Like a regular press proven being added to the card, it definitely adds a lot of variables to him, that's for sure. Renato Sanches gets another card too. This is from the long ball pass, the jockey, and the technical. Renato Sanches doesn't really have anything like crazy special about him in this game. Not like previous years, right? Like if that flashback card came out during that 1 year where honestly just a rare gold Renato Sanches would cook, then, that card would have been a no-brainer as an evolution, right? But there's a lot of these evolution cards for cards that don't really have like the certain base mechanics down, right? Like I think Renato Sanches, I'd probably put him in that realm as well. But again, when they improve cards, sometimes they feel significantly better in game. With Renato Sanches, this card is a 4-star, 5-star player. Dribbling is in a very good area. Shooting is in a very good area. Shadow chemistry style could make him still very solid in this game. I think the play styles actually would be pretty relevant for him. I think it's very relevant to work with Trivela Plus as a midfielder because a lot of the times if you have your 3 midfielders and you do the ball roll, you can work with the Trivela on your strong foot, more specifically on the right-hand side. And then to be fair, long ball pass is a very good play style. Jockey's pretty good as well. And so is technical, right? In the midfield position. So the improvements, definitely nice. Can't really go wrong with it. I think it would definitely make sense for this one too. Trivela is actually very, very solid for, you know, players that you could see being used in like the left mid, right mid area too. So just be very mindful of that. Goretzka gets an improvement. Okay, so this is an interesting one. I'm going to tell you guys why. I actually enjoyed using this card during that time period, right? I actually thought he was pretty solid. On a shadow chemistry style, he gets all the proper improvements, right? With this card, very similar situation where you just give him a shadow chemistry style. But because they did improve his base card stats in different areas of the card, the improvements are actually pretty nice, right? I used him specifically as one of 2 CDMs, I think, during that time period. It might have been like a 4-2-2 that I was reviewing. But regardless, the Intercept Plus on this card is actually pretty noticeable in game. Some players have it, and I'm just like, whatever. At this point, I don't know if like a Declan Rice would still hold up. Not over Toni Kroos, I'll tell you that right now. But Goretzka, when I was using him in like the left area instead of the right, he was doing a pretty solid job for me. Now, generally speaking, do I think that people are, you know, really go for like the Bundesliga teams? Not too much. I don't really see them that often. I don't really see them at all, if I'm being honest with you. Or maybe I just don't notice, right? There's always that too. So be very mindful of that. But Zaire-Emery gets one. I like Zaire-Emery. I like the way that he plays. And honestly, I tried out this card without looking at the play styles, right? And it was this one specifically when I tried it out. This one had the press for him plus during that time period, and I was so impressed with him, bro. I was like, oh my goodness, like this card actually performs pretty decently in game. And you know, this one's in a very similar boat because with Zaire-Emery, who's fantastic IRL by the ways, this is just a card that is really well formatted in a general sense, right? Because shadow chemistry style puts you at a very good area for defense and pace, but all of the base card stats being improved in multiple areas of the card makes him a very nice midfielder to use, right? Because he still works with the regular press proven, but now that you give him a Trivela Plus, there's a lot to work with in that midfield position, especially if someone is really parking the bus, right? So definitely a card to look into as well. It looks very good. Toni Kroos gets one. His improvements are specifically from the FUTTIES founders into brand new 9. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, if you didn't do the season objective card, I wouldn't even look at this card, honestly. I like, even if you didn't do it, I wouldn't look at him because that season objective card is, in my opinion, the best medium high. I've tried out Patrick Vieira. Patrick Vieira does not scratch the surface of that Toni Kroos, in my honest opinion. I gotta go into the thing here. I'm gonna pause again in a minute because I have to upload this Rivaldo review. So yeah, continuing on, Renato Sanches gets one Toni Kroos. I don't really care too much about Toni Kroos. These other ones, they look more interesting. Like even Zaire-Emery looks interesting as a midfielder. Sorry, brand new 9. I was like looking at the cards. I'm like, something is wrong here. Something is wrong here. But there's a couple of options you can go with this one. Honestly, like the midfield options, guys, they're not bad options. They're definitely not. But you could definitely see that there's a specific cutoff with this one. Like I'm gonna check Easy SBC as well to see if there's any ones that like really pop out to me. So a couple of other ones, like Cancelo could definitely be decent. Only problem with him right now is not a lengthy with the pace. Cancelo was really nice at some point in the game where that wasn't as relevant to work with. But nowadays, I would recommend different sort of players, to be honest. Henderson gets one. You can go with Tudom as well. I would definitely look into players that have the Intercept Plus. Like, for instance, like I think a Paredes actually could be very interesting, right? Because with Paredes, Trivela Plus in the midfield position would be very helpful to work with, right? I think he's well formatted in a general sense as well. You know, this card you would just give like an anchor or a shadow to, depending on what you feel like you would need most. But yeah, no, the improvements are definitely nice for him. I could see him being very, very good in the midfield setup. You know, he's got a pretty decent height. The dribbling stats are all there. Midfielders, I'm not as crazy about having press proven on, but it is always nice when they do have it. For instance, Toni Kroos does have a press proven on him. You know the vibes. But yeah, no, like a Paredes would definitely be really cool. You can definitely go with like a Kelly if you still have that card, if you rock with the female players. Gonna be honest, I don't see the female players that often anymore. The only main one I would see like meta wise is probably like Puteles. I would say Puteles is definitely very interesting. Hansen is decent, but Puteles I feel has more of a thing in game. I don't know, like she looks like someone that would do really well in like the right center mid position, because I already did her review and she's pretty great to use. A lot of these other ones that starts to get into like the 3 play styles, I become less interested in it. Obviously, some of these cards could definitely be very interesting with their improvements, but they're more like kind of giving you the illusion that you're getting like a better card, because obviously play styles is a very, very big deal to work with in this game this year, right? So if we were to go to brand new 9 and we check out some of the chained evolutions, that's where it gets a little bit more interesting. So Patrick Vieira gets an improvement, which definitely looks very nice. Physical sort of CDM. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I have the greats of the game Vieira, and as I mentioned earlier, I don't really like the card that much. It's a decent card. You know what it is? It's when you start to compare, because I'm telling you guys, like, Toni Kroos is too good. Like that's what it really comes down to. This would have been a really, really cool card for the Canadian homies, to be honest. Like, this guy as a midfielder, you know, center mid, honestly, you could use him in a lot of different ways, to be fair. He has very good play styles. Even in the cam position, I could see him doing a pretty solid job too. It's so interesting because it kind of looks like you give him a shadow, to be honest, right? Like the shadow chemistry style boosts the card to be at a certain area. He's 4-star, 5-star, high. A lot of really nice stuff to look into with that card for sure. Rabiot gets one. You could definitely go with Rabiot. I wouldn't be too fussed about that one. He's a physical CDM sort of, right? Box to box physical CDM, if anything. Marquisio gets one. With the Trivela Plus. I don't know if this Marquisio has an intercept on him. He does have a regular intercept. I never really seen him use that much, to be honest. Could be very good in game, especially with those improvements, but I just never really see him that often, right? Onana gets one too. Onana might not be a bad one, to be honest. But yeah, there's a few different ones here. Like Ramirez gets like a bunch of improvements, right? Like this card from those previous evolutions with all of these improvements definitely looks really good. Like he has very good base play styles, right? So a card like this being potentially used as like your attacking oriented center mid or one of your 2 CDMs, like even though he's not like the tall physical sort of player, I could still see him performing very, very well in game. It generally looks like a very good card, honestly. Like this evolution chain looks really, really solid on him. There's a lot of really cool things to look into. So yeah, with this one, guys, just do your best to look into cards that, you know, have the intercept plus and have very good base card stats for certain positions, because honestly, we've reached a point in the game where it's like, oh, you know, I want to get a Ramirez card. Okay, I can give him a Hawk or I can give him an Anchor, and the card is very, very well formatted with the pace, the defense, and the physical, or just everything else. Like we're already in an area now where it's like above 95s need to be done for most of the areas of the card for them to be very, very solid to use. It's a long grind for this one, you know, for all of the improvements that you have to do to him, but I could still see Ramirez being a very, very solid card if you choose to do that. But yeah, check out some of the chained evolutions. There will be some options here that will be pretty decent to work with. Again, try to look at, you know, specific playstyle pluses that will benefit you during the gameplay. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video today. I will catch you guys for the next one. Peace out, dudes. Love you guys.